I hate Oxford United as they beat my team Bolton Wanderers 2-0 in the playoff final in May, ultimately gaining promotion to the Championship at our expense. I'm just joking, Oxford fans. I don't really hate your club. Now, since gaining promotion, the U's currently sit 19th in the Championship table, just 1 point above the relegation zone. And despite a fairly strong start to their season, they have only won 1 game out of their last 13. And if form doesn't pick up soon, they have got a genuine chance of being relegated back to League One at the first time of asking. Now, one part of me does just want to let Oxford get relegated as they cause me a lot of pain in May, but there is a side of me that wants to save them. So today we are going to jump into FC25. We are going to save Oxford United, bring them up through the leagues with the end goal of winning the Champions League trophy. Now, if you do enjoy the content, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as we are trying to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's now jump into FC25 and save Oxford United. So this is the Oxford United team we have loaded into in FC25. On initial inspection, it definitely doesn't look that bad. We've got a pretty decent starting 11. We've got a decent bench of a couple of 70 rated players. However, I can't lie, boys, the personnel needs switching around in the starting 11, and I think this formation is a little bit too defensive for Oxford, so we are going to switch things up a bit. We've had a play about with the formation and the starting 11, and this will be the Oxford United team to take us into season number 1. We've opted for a 4-4-1-1, a little bit more attacking as it swaps out a CDM for an attacking midfielder, which should improve our goal output. Now, this formation change does see players like Brannigan, Sibley and Ter Avest come into the starting 11 along with Greg Lee, and that does help us out significantly as you know, on this channel in season 1 transfers are banned, so we are stuck with the players we have got. Now, some of the better players at the club are Cameron Brannigan, who is Mr. Oxford United himself, 70 rated, 28-year-old and a truly fantastic player. We also have stalwart captain Elliot Moore, 27-year-old and 70 rated, won't be an endgame player for us but will do a job for us right now. We also have some decent looking younger players like Louis Sibley, who is 68 rated and 22-year-old and can play numerous positions. We've got Tyler Goodrum, who is 20-year-old and 67 rated. This guy has got a massive future in real life. It is very encouraging to see that we've got so many decent young players at the club who may even be here when we get to the Champions League final. Now, when it comes to picking a tactic, we regularly bounce between counter-attack, tiki-taka. We never really use the pressing tactical preset, which I think would actually work for Oxford United. Oxford's high pressing at Wembley completely dismantled Bolton. I want to try and implement that in every single game in the Championship to help get us to the Premier League and avoid relegation to League One. Now, in season 1, Oxford only start with £2 million, which isn't a massive issue right now as we can't sign anyone at all, but we need to bring some coaches in and send our youth scouts out, which is going to probably use all of our money. And given the fact we have got quite a few first team players out of contracts at the end of the season, we may have to say goodbye to 1 or 2 of these players. Now, in recent weeks, I've been asking you, where should I send my youth scout? And keep the comments coming down below as it's really interesting to see where you want me to send the youth scouts. But today we are going to go with Yoshi Lover 46's comment, and we are going to be sending our youth scouts to Canada to try and find the next Alphonso Davies. And I'm going to stick a little rule onto this rebuild. We have to have at least 1 Canadian youth academy player in our starting 11 when we get in the Champions League final, or the rebuild is void. Now, I don't really think there's much more we can do in season number 1 as we've picked a team, picked a formation, analysed the squad, the finances and sent our youth scouts to Canada. All that's really left to do now is simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 1, and hopefully at the end of the season Oxford United are still in the Championship. So we have arrived at the end of season number 1 and we secured a 14th place finish in the Championship on 61 points, which I think is really impressive. Nowhere near the relegation zone, but we were still 16 points off the playoffs, so there is some work to be done if we're going to get Oxford United in the Premier League. However, I think if you'd ask any Oxford fan in the world, would they take a 14th place finish this season, every single one would say yeah. In the FA Cup we made the 4th round, but unfortunately lost to Premier League side Crystal Palace 3-1. No shame in that at all. And this is how the Oxford United team is looking at the end of season number 1. It is looking okay, plenty of players over 70 rated, but only just, with the highest rated player at the club being goalkeeper Cumming, who is 73 rated. I think we have got a pretty bang average Championship team on paper, so we are going to need some reinforcements in season number 2, and I think we are going to need a new centre back and a new left back as an absolute priority in season number 2. And there's a serious lack of actual central midfielders at the club. We have only got Brannigan and El Mizuni. That is it. Obviously players players like Will Vaulks can play as a centre mid, but they are naturally defensive midfielders. So I do think I'd like to bring in a very promising young centre midfielder along with a left back and a centre back. Then I think our squad would look a lot more competitive heading into season 2. However, this is all completely budget dependent. Because we've finished 14th in the championship, I'm predicting about £4 million we're going to get, meaning we will have to be savvy in the loan market and in the free agent market, as I don't think we'll be able to afford an actual cash signing. However, I could be wrong. Now, in terms of stats, Mark Harris had a great season, getting 28 goals and 10 assists, effectively keeping us up with his goal returns. Ruben Rodriguez had a good season as well, getting 12 goals and 15 assists, and Cameron Brannigan was decent from midfield, getting 10 and 6. But after that, boys, hardly any involvements at all from the rest of the squad, which needs to be addressed. Now, we did send our youth scouts off to Canada, and we did find some exciting players, but unfortunately, they are still 1 or 2 seasons away from being promoted to the senior team. Pick of the bunch was David Coleman, who's a 54 rated cam with 88 to 94 potential and 5-star skill moves. However, we are still 2 seasons at least away from seeing him get promoted to the senior team. We have also found a decent right midfielder in Daniel Clark, who's got 81 to 87 potential, and he's 59 rated with 5-star weak foot and a whole host of play styles. As soon as he turns 16, we will promote him to the senior team and get him out on loan. And we've also got a pretty decent right back in Frank Gordson, who has got 75 to 91 potential, and he is 64 rated. We are going to promote him straight to the senior team and get him straight out on loan, and hopefully when he returns from his loan, he's good enough to start for Oxford United. So we have arrived in season number 2, and we do have £5 million in the bank, which is definitely a budget I can work with. So let's get to work on bringing some players to the football club. So boys, I did say in this transfer window we will have to utilise loan to buys and also free agent signings if we're going to majorly improve the team, and so far we've actually done that. So kicking off our transfer window, we have signed midfielder Mahamadou Diawara from Olympique Lyonnais on a 2-season loan with an optional future fee of £2.4 million, which I think is a very good deal. He is 20 years old, he's 70 rated, he's got really nice stats, he's got good potential in this game as well, and he is going to slot nicely into the centre of our midfield. After a quick scout of the free agents list, we saw that CJ Egan-Riley was out of contract. He is 22 years old, he's 71 rated, and plays centre back and right back, and he has decent stats, and he has signed a 4-year deal, and I think this is a really decent free agent signing, especially at championship level, and that leaves us with quite a bit of funds to bring in a left back, and I will also see if I can sign an attacking midfielder as well in this window. But before we sign any more players, we have had a few outgoings I need to run you through. Stuart Finlay has left the club for 650 grand. We have managed to loan out exciting Canadian youngster Frank Gordson to Cardiff on a 2-season loan. We've also sold Matt Ingram to Swansea for 850 grand. Sam Long leaves the club, he's off to Portugal for 630 grand. And we have also sold Kyle Edwards to Bristol City for 990 grand, leaving us with 7 million in the bank. Now, priority is a left back. If we have any available funds after signing a left back, we'll be looking to bring an attacking midfielder to the club as well in this window. Now, we have identified the left back we want to bring to Oxford United in this transfer window, and it is American fullback Caleb Wiley, who is currently playing in the French league. He's 20 years old, he's 71 rated, he's got really nice stats, 3-star, and he is also very affordable, boys, as we are going to be paying anywhere from 2.9 to 3.9 million for his services. Would leave us a little bit of change left over for an attacking midfielder, and he would be a huge upgrade in the left back position for us. And Caleb Wiley signs for 2.9 million, which I think is a fantastic deal, and this leaves us with 4 million still in the bank to bring an attacking midfielder to the football club. Now, signing an attacking midfielder turned out to be a seriously difficult task. We had around 3 million to play with, but we just could not agree terms with any club for any of our targets, so we have taken a little bit of a risk with this signing. We have loaned in Amari Kellyman from Chelsea on a 2-year loan with an optional future fee of 1.9 million. He's 19 years old, he's 66 rated with OK stats. This signing is definitely a risky one, as he is 2 overalls lower rated than Ruben Rodriguez, but he is 10 years younger and he has got pretty good potential in FC25. We are going to throw Kellyman straight in at the deep end, and he is going to be our starting attacking midfielder going into season number 2. And that means this will be the Oxford United team to take us into season number 2. The squad is definitely looking much stronger on paper. You may notice we have changed some things around. We did change Louis Sibley's position from a right mid to a centre mid. He will be our starting midfielder going into season number 2. Diawara comes in midfield as well, as he's got higher potential than Brannigan and El Mizuni. Our back line's looking looking stronger as well with the additions of Egan, Riley and Wiley. So I do think we've made some excellent signings. We look a lot more solid. Don't think we're yet ready to finish in the playoffs, but I definitely think we've got a squad capable of getting into the top half at least this season. Now, with our transfer window completed, I don't think there's anything left to do but simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 2. And like we've already discussed, I would love a top half finish. So we have arrived at the end of season number 2 and we have finished 7th in the championship, just 2 points off 6th place Norwich. So close to securing a place in the playoffs, which I am kind of gutted about, but the fact that we have jumped up 7 positions in just 1 season is fantastic. And if we can get the signings right in season number 3, we could even go for automatic promotion. However, in the FA Cup, we had a pretty disappointing showing as we went out in the 3rd round 3-2 to Norwich. Not good enough. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season number 2. I do think now we've got a very, very strong championship level side. Most of our players in our starting 11 are mid 70 rated, which we love to see. Kellyman has grown to 70 rated as well, which is a big boost for us. Our bench is also looking pretty decent as well, which we love to see. However, heading into season number 3, I think we're going to have to improve potentially the right side of our team, as Terravest is 71 rated, Dembele is currently injured, but he is also 71 rated. Both are the weak links in our team, but I kind of want to try and incorporate one of our Canadian youth players out on the right side of our team. So we may recall the young lad we sent out on loan to Cardiff and give him a shot as our first choice right back, but he is still below 70 rated, so I'm a little bit unsure. But one thing for definite is we will definitely be signing a right midfielder in this window. Now, we did promote 3 players from our youth academy this season. Daniel Clark has been promoted to the senior team and he has gone out on loan for 2 seasons. Brett Cooper has been promoted to the senior team at 16-year-old, 62 rated. He's listed for loan. And the same can be said for Mike Perry, not the UFC fighter. He is 64 rated, 17-year-old, and he's also going to go out on loan next season. As we can see, Frank Gordson has had a decent loan spell at Cardiff. He's now 68 rated and 18-year-old. Can't lie, boys, I am kind of tempted to just throw him straight into our starting 11, as he did have really good potential. And as you know, we do need to have at least 1 Canadian youth academy player in our starting 11 when it gets to the Champions League final. And the sooner we get a youth player into our team, the better. And in terms of stats, it was once again Mark Harris who was our best player, getting 28 goals and 14 assists. So we were outstanding in season 2, very unlucky to miss out on the playoffs. Let's get into season 3, bolster the squad and make a push for at least the playoffs, maybe even automatic promotion. So we have arrived in season number 3 and we have once again got £5 million in the bank. And we are kicking off our transfer window, boys, with a free agent signing, as Alfie Gilchrist has joined the club on a 5-year deal. He is 22 years old and 72 rated with really decent stats. He is 7 years younger than Elliot Moore and 1 overall point less rated, meaning he's definitely got higher potential. And for a free transfer, I think this is actually a very, very good pickup. And since signing Alfie Gilchrist, we have been very, very busy in selling some deadwood from our squad, and I'll run you through the outgoings right now. Kicking things off, Primislav Placheta has left the club for Bromby for 1.3 million. Will Volks has also left the club for 900 grand. Greg Lee is out the door for 650 grand. Dieter Kioso has left the club for 1.5 million. Jordan Forneley has left the club for 750 grand. And we have managed to loan out both young Canadian wingers. Brett Cooper's out to Plymouth for 2 seasons, and Mike Perry will join Sheffield United for 2 seasons as well. Now, we do have £9 million in the bank, and we're going to put all of this money into signing a right midfielder. And the right midfielder we have identified to bring to Oxford United is Lewis Kumas, who is currently playing for Brentford. He is 20 years old, 73 rated, really nice stats, 4-star weak foot, but it's going to be a costly deal, as Brentford could ask for anywhere between 5.8 and 7.8 million pounds. He is having an excellent loan spell with Stoke City in real life, and I want to continue his development as a permanent Oxford United player. And we smash Oxford United's transfer record, paying £6 million to bring Kumas to the club. And after the signing of Kumas, we're left with £2 million in the bank. They're not looking to sell absolutely anyone else at all, so I think that could be our transfer window done. And with Gilchrist and Kumas added to the starting 11 along with Gordson, this will be the Oxford United team to take us into season 3. We are looking very, very strong on paper now. I think we've definitely got a chance of finishing in the playoffs with an outside chance of getting automatic promotion. So I don't really think there's much more we can do other than simulate forward straight through to the end of season 3. I think we have spent our money wisely, and I would be disappointed if we're not in at least the playoffs this season. So we have arrived at the end of season number 3, boys, and we have only gone and secured promotion to the Premier League, finishing 2nd in the Championship on 90 points, scoring 94 goals, only losing 8 times all season. And in season 4, Oxford United will be in the Premier League. Now, in the FA Cup, we could only make the 4th round as Brighton knocked us out 2-0 2-0. No real shame in that though. And before we check the team, we have had two really exciting youth prospects come through our academy. First being 16-year-old goalkeeper Nick Allen, who is 60 rated, and he had between 86 and 94 potential. And David Coleman has finally reached 16 years old. He is 61 rated. He had anywhere from 88 to 92 potential, and he's already got a loan deal lined up for the next 2 seasons. So this is the Oxford United team that has got us promotion to the Premier League, and it is starting to look really strong on paper. The likes of Wiley, Egan Riley and Kumas are all touching 80 rated at 79 rated apiece. The rest of the squad is looking really strong. Now at the start of season 4 we will have to make Kellyman and Diawara's transfers permanent, as they are both only in on loan, but we're only paying 2.6 million for Diawara and 1.7 million for Kellyman, which is really good business. Now looking at the rest of the squad, obviously the right back is easily the weakest part of our team, but Gordson has had a really decent season in terms of development. He's only 19 years old and he will keep improving. So I think looking at the team, I am going to look to spend most of our money on a new goalkeeper to replace Cumming, as at 75 rated. Don't think he's going to do that much of a job for us in the Premier League. And if we have any money remaining after bringing a new goalkeeper to the club, I would like to bring a central midfielder in to replace Sibley, but I'm not too sure how much money we're going to get in season 4, so I can't make any promises on where we're going to improve the squad. Now in terms of stats, it was actually Lewis Kumas who was our best player this season. What a signing he's turned out to be. He got 27 goals and 6 assists from the right midfield, which is absolutely insane. So season 3 was a massive success. We are now officially a Premier League team. Let's get into season 4 and make the necessary signings to keep Oxford United up. So we have arrived in season 4 and we have only got 33 million to spend, so I think we're only going to be able to make both loan signings permanent and then potentially a new goalkeeper. However, we are wasting no time making these loan signings permanent. Mohamedou Diawara is 22-year-old, 78 rated, worth 18.5 million, and we are going to buy him for just 2.4 million. And we have completed the permanent signing of Diawara, and he's signed a 5-year deal. Now up next, it's time to make Amari Kellyman's loan permanent. He is 21-year-old, 75 rated, worth 13 million, and we are going to sign him for just 1.95 million. Now Kellyman wanted big wages as he's taking on 35 grand a week, but he has signed a 5-year deal. And that leaves us with 26 million in the bank to bring a new goalkeeper to the club, but we may look to sell 1 or 2 players before we go in for a goalkeeper. Now before we make any further signings, some players have left the club. Will Goodwin has left the club for 1.4 million. Ed McGinty has left the club for 1.2 million. Idris El Masouni has left the club for 4.1 million. Ruben Rodriguez has left the club for 1.5 million. And we have loaned out Nick Allen for the next 2 seasons, and his potential is insane. And this leaves us with 32 million pounds to bring in a new goalkeeper. And the goalkeeper we have identified to bring to Oxford United is Martin van der Voort, who is currently playing for RB Leipzig. He is 25-year-old, is 81 rated, his stats are brilliant, plenty of play styles, and the most important of all, he is affordable, as we're going to pay anywhere from 22 to 27 million pounds for him. He is a massive upgrade in the goalkeeper position, so let's bring him to the club. And Van der Voort joins the club for 22.5 million, and I think we've got a pretty decent deal for him. After the signing of Van der Voort, we're left with 7 million pounds in the bank, and I don't really think with this money we're going to be able to sign anyone else in this transfer window, as we do have some contracts to renew. We do want to bring a further few more coaches in, and I really don't think 7 million is enough to bring anyone of any kind of quality into the club. And that means this will be the Oxford United team to take us into season 4. I do expect quite a few of these players to reach 80 rated this season, like Egan Riley, Wiley, Diawara and Kumas. However, I do think we have got a big battle on our hands to actually stay in the Premier League. If we do stay up, it will be an absolutely massive achievement. Now, we won't be looking to sell anyone else in this transfer window, so as far as I'm concerned, all our business is done. If anything else takes place, it will be youth players leaving the club on loan. So as of right now, we will be simulating forward straight through to the end of season 4. We're going to keep this transfer window short and sweet, and hopefully we can keep Oxford United in the Premier League. So we have arrived at the end of season number 4, boys, and in the back of my mind, relegation was a real possibility. Well, what do I know, as we have finished 10th in our first season in the Premier League on 49 points, achieving a top half finish, finishing above Manchester United, which isn't really a hard task these days, and that is absolutely massive. We have set the foundations. We now need to build on this and start trying to get Oxford United into Europe. That is mad to say. And in the FA Cup, boys, we actually won the competition, beating Arsenal 3-2 on penalties after drawing 2-2. And Oxford United are FA FA Cup champions. Absolutely insane, boys, as this is the Oxford United team that has secured a top half finish and won the FA Cup. Loads of our players are now above 80 rated, like Kumas, Kellyman, Diawara, Wiley, Egan Riley and Van der Voort. We've only got 4 players in the starting 11 who are under 80 rated, and Goodrum, Sibley and Gordson, all their positions in the team are under threat. We have got a youth player returning from loan who will be taking Goodrum's place in the starting 11, and then heading into season number 5 we will be looking to bring a central midfielder and right back to the club if we have enough money, which I probably don't think we are going to do. However, Gordson is showing excellent development season on season, so if we don't have enough money for a right back, it's not the end of the world. And the academy player who will be our first choice left midfielder from next season is Mike Perry, who has been at Sheffield United. He's 19 years old and 75 rated, showing really good development, and we are going to trust him as our starting left midfielder next season. Now, in terms of stats, Mark Harris was excellent, getting 29 goals and 7 assists. He has been a very solid striker for us. Elliman and Kumas both had good seasons as well, but after that, not many goals from the rest of the squad. So what an unbelievable season 4 was. We are the defending FA Cup champions heading into season 5, and let's try to build on this top half finish. So we have arrived in season 5, and what is our reward for finishing 10th and winning the FA Cup? Just £21 million. The Oxford United board are taking the mick. So as it stands right now, we can't even afford to replace Sibley in midfield, which is really disappointing. We are going to have a scan through the squad, see who's available to be sold, and hopefully we can raise some funds, because that transfer budget is a disgrace. So we have been very busy off camera shifting some deadwood out of Oxford United to enable us to make some signings, and I will run you through the outgoings right now. Stefan Negru has joined Sheffield Wednesday for £1 million. We have had to sell one of our academy graduates, Brett Cooper, for £4.3 million just to raise some funds. Owen Dale leaves us for £1.3 million. Tariki Dembele leaves the club for £2.3 million. Kieran Brown leaves the club for £1.4 million. And we have also managed to loan out 3 of our academy graduates. Hopefully they come back pushing for a first team place. So we now have a measly £26 million in the bank to bring in a central midfielder. Now, we have managed to bring a central midfielder to the club, and all things considered, I think we've actually made a fantastic signing with the limited funds that we have, as we have brought in Ayoub Bouadi from Hoffenheim for £23 million. He is 20-year-old, 77 rated, has really decent stats, and he is also an exciting prospect, and I have no doubt by the end of this season he'll be 82, 83 rated. But we are left with just £2 million in the bank. There's no way we can sign absolutely anyone else. That's probably our transfer window done, and that would mean this is the Oxford United team to go into season number 5. And do you know what? In terms of overall, we are actually slightly weaker heading into the new season, but Perry and Bouadi, who have been added to the starting 11, will definitely grow by loads this season, as they're both exciting prospects. And I'm hopeful players like Kumas, Kellyman, Diawara, Wiley, Egan Riley and Van der Voort continue their growth rates, so at the end of the season we've got quite a few mid-80 rated players in the team. And despite the fact we are lacking a decent backup striker, we do have plenty of options on the bench. And we are kicking off season 5 with a narrow Community Shield defeat to Arsenal, as they got revenge for the FA Cup final, beating us 2-1 at Wembley. And because we won the FA Cup in season 4, this season we are actually in the Europa League. We've got some interesting ties against the likes of Braga, Real Sociedad and Frankfurt, so it will be really interesting to see how we get on in this competition. Personally, right now with the squad we've got, I would just be happy getting to the round of 16. Now, our transfer window is officially done. We're not looking to sell or sign anyone else because the board have shafted us with a shocking budget. I will say it again. So all that's left to do now really is simulate forward straight through to the end of season 5, and just hopefully our youngsters have grown substantially so we can make a push for the Champions League in season 6. So we have arrived at the end of season number 5, boys, and we've actually secured a 7th place finish in the Premier League, improving on last season. We finished on 59 points and we was only 5 points off 4th place Manchester United. With the right additions in season 6, maybe, just maybe, we can get into the Champions League. Now, our defence of the FA Cup was appalling, as Championship QPR knocked us out in the 4th round 2-1. However, we was excellent in the Europa League, reaching the semi-finals, where unfortunately we were knocked out 3-0 on aggregate by Napoli. However, I think we were excellent in the Europa League, showing we can compete in Europe. So this is how the Oxford United team is looking at the end of season number 5. So many players now high 80 rated. The team is definitely starting to look very strong on paper. Harry has had a great season in terms of development, as he is now 80 rated at 20-year-old. He is definitely someone to look out for. But going into season 6, where do we want to improve this team? Well, I definitely want to bring in a centre-back to replace Gilchrist at the back, as he is now 26-year-old and 80 rated. I think he'd be more suited to a backup role. Now, in terms of stats, Mark Harris continues to impress, scoring 34 goals and getting 6 assists. Kumas was outstanding, 22 goals and 11 assists. He is one of the best players in the Premier League. And finally, we will be saying goodbye to Mr. Oxford United, Cameron Brannigan. He is retiring at the end of the season, and he has been an unbelievable servant to Oxford United. We've arrived in season 6, boys, and the board are killing us. We've only got 26 million in the bank. How are we supposed to progress with Oxford United with no money? Oh, this is so frustrating, boys, honestly. I had such big plans for season 6, and they are now completely in the bin. How am I supposed to get this team in the Champions League? We have got so many first team players out of contracts at the end of the season. That's going to take up about £5 million of our budget. Oh, they've completely killed us, boys. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to go away off camera, which contracts to renew, how to raise a bit of money. Genuinely though, we might not be able to sign anyone. We've renewed the relevant contracts. We've got £19 million in the bank. Honestly, boys, I don't think £19 million replaces Gilchrist at all in our starting 11. I'm really getting bored of selling players who I want to drop to the bench and be rotation players because we don't have enough money to bring anyone in. We've just got to the semi-final of the Europa League and finished 7th in the Premier League, and we've been given 26 million to improve the team. It's impossible. So I have scoured the transfer window high and wide. There's no way with 19 million in the bank we are bringing a centre-back into the football club who actually gets into the starting 11. So no one will be coming in this window who actually gets into our first team, but it is nice to see Gordon has reached 80 rated, so everyone in the starting 11 is above 80 rated. We just have to bank on our youngsters who are starting week in, week out to continue developing, and hopefully they can work a bit of magic and push us into the Champions League. Looking at our bench, we are seriously lacking a backup striker, as Gatlin or Donker is not good enough. We're going to use this 19 million to bring a backup striker to the football club. Oh, boys, you don't understand how annoyed I am. We're even struggling to sign a decent backup striker. We've already gone in for Jay Stansfield and Armando Broyo. We just can't get the deals over the line. So we're going for our third option now, which is going to be Sinclair Armstrong. He's 26-year-old, 77 rated. He is decent, will be a decent backup striker. He's someone we can definitely afford. Hooray! We're going to be paying anywhere from 11.7 to 14.6 million for him. He wasn't my first and he wasn't my second choice backup striker, but he is much better than Gatlin or Donker, and I do think he will do a job off the bench. And Sinclair Armstrong is in for £12 million, and that's going to be our transfer window done, boys. As we are left with a measly £7 million in the bank, I don't even think we can bring a decent rotation player in with that money. So that will mean this will be the Oxford United team that takes us into season number. We do have a very strong team on paper. We have got some of the best players in the Premier League playing for us, like Wiley, Kumas and Van der Voort. I just wish we could have signed a centre-back in this window. Our bench does look strong, to be fair. We've got so many options. I do think these lads can get us into the Champions League, if I'm honest. We just need to be consistent, beat the teams around us, but knowing our luck, we'll qualify for the Champions League and the board will give us £30 million. And this season we are in the Conference League, boys, and some of our standout fixtures in the league phase are Stade Rennais at home, Hearts away and Feyenoord away. So the ability gap between the Europa League and Conference League is definitely showing. If we can get to the semi-final of the Europa League, I don't see any reason why we can't be one of the favourites to win the Conference League this year. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season 6 and see how we got on. So we have arrived at the end of season number 6, and boys, we are playing Champions League football in season 7, as we have actually finished second in the Premier League, a whopping 12 points clear of 5th place Liverpool. We were 11 points behind eventual winners Manchester City, but I really don't care, boys. Against all the odds stacked against us this season, we have actually qualified for the Champions League, and we're the second best team in England. That's insane. In the FA Cup we made the 5th round, but once again lost to lower league opposition as Bristol City beat us 2-1. However, we were the winners of the UEFA Conference League, beating Club Brugge 3-1 in the final. So we've now got an FA Cup and Conference League in our trophy cabinet. So this is how the Oxford United team is looking at the end of season 6, and this squad is looking excellent. Wiley and Kumas are now over 90 rated, with Kellerman not far behind, 89 rated. But looking at the team, it's so obvious where we need to improve. We need new centre-backs, as they are just not at an high enough level. But as we know, the board have been so ridiculous with the money they've been giving us. Surely finishing second and winning the Conference League should give us a massive budget so we can finally bolster our defence. And in terms of stats, Mark Harris continues to impress, getting 28 goals and 5 assists. I really wasn't expecting Mark Harris to be this good. He's 31, he's 87 rated, and he's going from strength to strength. So what a roaring success season 6 was. Let's now get into season 7 and get Oxford United ready for Champions League football. So we have arrived in season 7, boys, and the board have given us 77 million to improve our squad. Now, despite the fact we finished second in the Premier League and won the Conference League, I do think this budget is a little bit stingy. However, we will finally be able to bring a real world-class centre-back to the club, and that's all that matters. And the centre-back we've identified to bring to Oxford United is William Packer, who is currently playing for Manchester United. He's 28-year-old, 84 rated, got really good defensive stats and plenty of play styles, and he's actually very affordable, as we're going to be paying anywhere from 37 to 46 million pounds for his services. He would instantly be the best centre-back at the club, and he's a huge upgrade on Egan Riley and Gilchrist. And William Packer joins the club for 42 million, and I think we've got a pretty decent deal for him. And after the signing of Packer and renewing quite a few contracts, we're left with just 18 million in the bank. Now, I'm not entirely convinced that 18 million brings in a player who can even get on our bench, so for now, I'm just going to call the transfer window finished. I'm really happy with the one signing we have made, as it's massively improved our defence, and that'll be the only business we do in this window, as we have not let anyone leave. We want to keep the squad together. But as we know, this season we debut in the Champions League, and in the league phase we have got some really interesting ties, including Napoli away, Juventus away, Marseille away. We've got a very strong squad on paper, so I am expecting us to definitely get through the league phase, and I do want to try and get to at least the quarterfinals. So we are once again going to be keeping it short and sweet in our build up to season 7. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, see how we got in the Premier League and the Champions League. So we've arrived at the end of season number 7, boys, and we have secured yet another second place finish. However, we did narrow the gap to Manchester City by 3 points. It was very, very tight at the top of the league this season, as only 9 points separated 7th from 2nd, showing the standard of the league has definitely improved. I will take a second place finish, and that's guaranteed Champions League football in season 8. In the FA Cup, we made the 5th round, but once again fell short to lower league opposition. And in the Champions League, we made the round of 16 proper, where unfortunately we lost to Borussia Dortmund 3-2 over 2 legs, so when there is still work to be done if we're going to get to a Champions League final. So this is how the Oxford United team is looking at the end of season number 7. Really strong team on paper. The lowest rated player in the side is 84 rated, which we love to see. We were massively hampered this season though, as Buade was injured for 6 months in January. I mean, he missed the entire second half of the season. And at 88 rated and 23-year-old with amazing stats, we have really missed his presence in midfield. So heading into season number 8, I still have an eye on improving our defence, as our 2 lowest rated players are Gilchrist and Gordson, both 84 rated. I am going to look to bring another centre-back to the club in this transfer window, as I would like another world-class centre-back at the back, maybe someone who's 87, 88 rated. And looking at our bench, I do think we need a better backup full-back than Curry, so if we have any remaining funds after signing a centre-back, we will look to bring in a backup full-back. So we have arrived in season number 8, and the board have given us 88 million to improve our squad, which should help us bring in a centre-back and a backup full-back. And kicking off our season 8 transfer window, boys, we've actually dipped into the free agent market to bring in a backup left back, and we have found a real gem in Philip Martin, who's 80 rated and 21-year-old. Really nice stats, showing great potential as well. Signed on a free on a 4-year deal, saved us a hell of a lot of money in the process, and I'm really happy with this signing. So now we can plough all of this 87 million into signing a new centre-back. And the centre-back we have identified to bring to Oxford United is Antonio Silva, who is currently playing for Brentford. He is 87 rated, 27-year-old, insane stats and plenty of play styles, and we are going to be paying anywhere from 64 to 80 million pound for him, which is actually a very reasonable deal, and he would really elevate the level of our back line. And Antonio Silva is in for 70 million, and what a signing this is. And with Silva added to that back line, just tell me that team doesn't look 10 times better, and I genuinely think this team has got a chance of winning the Champions League this season. And there will also be no further outgoings in this window, as we're happy with the squad we've got. Now in the Champions League this season, we have got some very difficult games in the league phase, like Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, so it will be a challenge to get through the league phase, but we definitely should be. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season 8, keep this transfer window short and sweet, try to win some silverware. So we have arrived at the end of season number 8, and we have won the Premier League, boys, finishing on 79 points, level on points with Liverpool, but our superior goal difference sees Oxford United crowned the champions of England. What a story. But since we won the FA Cup, we have been awful in this competition, as Brighton knocked us out in the 4th round 2-1. But let's put that behind us, as we are in the Champions League final, and we will be taking on Bayern Munich. In the league phase, we came top of the table on 22 points, winning 7 of our 8 games. We didn't lose a single game. We were the top scorers, and that put us in an excellent position heading into the knockout phase, where we squaws past AS Roma in a very narrow 5-4 win over 2 legs. That second leg looked like an amazing game. In the quarterfinals though, we bounced PSG 6-1 over 2 legs. And we would go on to do the same against Manchester City, beating them 6-1 over 2 legs for setting up a final with Bayern Munich. So this is the Oxford United team that has got us to a Champions League final, and just look at it, boys. 7 of our starting 11 are 90 rated or above, 86 being the lowest rated in the entire team. This starting 11 could easily be one of the best we have ever had headed into a Champions League final. And at the start of the rebuild, I did give us a rule that we had to have 1 Canadian Youth Academy player in our starting 11 for the Champions League final, but we've gone 1 better and we've actually got 2. And now all that's left to do, boys, is head to the Champions League final and take on Bayern Munich. Now here we go, boys. It's Champions League final time, live from the Estadio de Benfica. Let's get the job done. Kellyman, what a ball! Kumas is it? Oh, he's offside. He's offside. I have to say though, boys, I'm really happy with the start we've made to this game. Diawara, that's a brilliant move. Is it the post? That is a very promising sign for us. If it the post, we should probably be winning. We've been by far the better side, which is going to see us go to half-time. It's 0-0 in this final. We've had 1 really big chance and hit the post. Chances have been pretty scarce beyond that, and hopefully we can find the opening goal sooner rather than later. Right, boys, let's do it. Kellyman really hasn't been in this final. He's 94 rated. We really need to get... Oh, that's unbelievable. Inside. Oh, that's a good tackle. Maybe... Oh, that's a really poor ball. Harris, what a turn! Mark Harris! Oh my god. Oh my god. That had to go in. He's been so clinical in every single season of this rebuild. And the biggest chance in his Oxford United career goes wide. Diawara. Kuma. Oh, look, come on. Come on. Come on. There's no excuse not to score here. Kumas. Yes, get in there. I thought I'd done the wrong pass. I was trying to square it to Kellyman, but Harris makes no mistake. In the 72nd minute, it is 1-0 to Oxford United. Do not even bother asking me where the Bayern Munich defence were. They were absolutely non-existent. 89 minutes now on the clock, boys. We are almost home and dry in this Champions League final, but Bayern keeping all the possession. What a tackle. That's surely the game. Harris, Kellyman's in. There's a sweat on. He dragged him. Oh my god. As if he's missed that. But it doesn't matter, boys, as we have won the Champions League. We've missed some gilt-edged chances along the way, but who cares? A Mark Harris goal means Oxford United are the champions of Europe. And all that is now left to do is watch Oxford United lift the Champions League trophy. What a story it's been. And Oxford United are the champions of Europe, and that is another rebuild successfully boxed off. So I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as it does help me out. We are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I will see you next week when we rebuild the Champions League's worst club.